G'day guys, it's Max from Ozzy Auto Electrics here today. We've had this Malibu family adventurer with us the last couple of days. We've done a big off-grid system in it. We mounted everything inside, so I'll show you guys that in a second. So this customer wants to travel Australia next year. So he has a BM Pro unit from factory. These units are a 35 amp unit, so they can only put in 35 amps at a maximum. So basically what we've done is we've taken all the controllers, like chargers, solar controller, 240 charger, out of the BM Pro unit so we can put in more amperage. So this customer brought us the Caravan. It had a factory system in it. Basically the factory system was 200 amp hours of lithium batteries and the BM Pro unit up in the cupboard here. It's a 35 amp BM Pro unit. From factory, the solar runs through it, the 240 charging runs through it, and all the lighting circuits run through it. The only issue with the BM Pro units is they can only put out 35 amps at a maximum. This customer is going to be traveling Australia next year and he wants to be able to go off-grid for much longer periods of time without charge. So we've retrofitted all the charging systems and put a 3000 watt inverter in, which I'll show you guys in a minute. The benefits of that is we take it out of the BM Pro so you can have a higher amperage of charge and you can fit a lot more solar panels on and a higher amperage of 240 charging. We've mounted everything underneath the couch down here, which I'll show you guys now. Okay, so this is the system we've done down here. He's opted for 840 amp hours of lithium batteries. We use custom lithium. They're made here in Brisbane, in Brendale. They have 5 years warranty. They're a really good brand battery. For all the chargings, we use Victron. We believe Victron is one of the best kits of gear you can get around. It's used worldwide. So basically, we used a 3000 watt inverter, 3 30 amp solar controllers. We did 800 watts of Alvolta solar panels on the roof. So 2 solar panels, 400 watts, goes to one 30 amp Victron solar controller. The other 400 watts goes to the other 30 amp Victron solar controller. The third Victron solar controller is for a roaming Anderson plug, because he's bought a 440 watt blanket that he's going to plug into it. The benefits of that, if he parks in the shade or something like that, he can run the extension lead out to the blanket and still get charge even if the Caravan's in the shade. So the 3000 watt Victron inverter is an unreal piece of kit. That thing will allow this customer to run the aircon in almost any 240 appliance he desires, including induction cooktops, hair dryers, all that kind of thing. It's also got a built-in 240 charger, so when you plug into mains, it switches over to start charging the batteries instead of you still using battery power. This inverter is capable of knowing what's plugged into it. If it's plugged into mains, it switches over automatically. Okay, this is the control panel center. So we mounted everything underneath the couch that you guys saw just before, but this is the control hub. So you've got your battery monitor, which is a little circle screen just here, and this is the inverter control. How the inverter control works is when you are off-grid and you want to use a 240 appliance, you just come to this little dial and you turn it to the on position. You might have just heard the microwave and aircon turn on just then. The indicator here states that the inverter is on, and that means it's running off battery power to supply the aircon, which is great. If you were to plug into mains, you'd see this little mains icon light that would come on and it would indicate that it's plugged into mains. The inverter would then start charging the batteries from grid. The current limiter, which is the number 16 here, that's the inlet from grid. All Caravan inlets are a 15 amp inlet, Australia wide. So we set it to 16 just to give that 1 amp leeway. But basically that just needs to stay at 16 because that's the Australian inlet on Caravans. So the system under here all has its own fuses. Each individual charger or controller has their own MIDI fuse. We've labelled them all here, put them all in a row, and they say exactly what they are on it. If a customer ever ran into troubles out in the middle of nowhere, everything's labelled, so it would be easy to diagnose. So the 840 amp hours of custom lithium batteries are mounted under this lid. This box has been completely sealed with silicone. It's all airtight, all to comply with the new laws that came out in November. So for all the controllers down underneath the couch here, it will get nice and warm in there, which is okay, but we like to take extra precautions by putting in fans. So we've mounted 2 fans, one here and one here. One pushes air in and the other one pushes the air out. They are wired through the inverter, through a temperature sensor, so they'll turn on and off as they please. But if they, for customers' preference, there is a switch that we also mount next to them that they can override, and you can actually turn the fans off. So with these 3000 watt inverters, the 240 electrician comes in and wires in a 240 breaker nice and close to the inverter, just in case if there are any dramas the power would trip. This is the 240 breaker here, so that switch always needs to be on, otherwise you'll lose your 240 power supply. So this is the 440 watt foldable Alvolta panel. They come with a 5-year warranty and they fold into the size about this bag here. So that's great for storage reasons because you can fit it in the front tunnel boot of most Caravans, and you can plug it in when you're set up. So this roaming Anderson plug runs through a 30 amp Victron solar controller. This is dedicated for that 440 watt Alvolta solar panel that you guys just saw, and that plugs into here. So this is where the batteries used to be. We've obviously taken them out and mounted them inside, which you guys saw just before. But we keep these boxes here, as you can use them for like storage compartments. Could be useful for something or up to the customer preference. So here we have the Victron Connect app. We did 3 solar controllers on this. This is one of the solar controllers. So this particular solar controller has 400 watts on it. And right now it's getting 264 out of 400 watts, which is pretty good because we're parked next to a building and there's a fair bit of shade. Okay, so the Victron Shunt, which is the little battery monitor up here, that little circle screen, that also has an app too. So this is the Victron battery monitor. It's called the Shunt, and this also has an app. So you can see the state of charge, which is 93%. You've got your voltage, which is 13.04. You got your current, which I showed you guys on the screen up there before. There's a negative in front of that number. It means current being pulled out of the battery. It's got time remaining. So right now there is 9 hours left of the aircon running. That's what's on right now. So that will constantly update in real time. So right now with not a single piece of charge, there is 10 hours left of that current being pulled out of the battery before they go flat, which 48 to 70 amps is a massive amount of current. Anyway guys, that's just a quick brief view of the system we did in this Caravan. Give us a call for any of your 12 volt needs.